Hey guys, welcome to my review on the TAZER and the COPS team in general. In this in-depth guide, I'll go into all the strategies, stats, and counterplays so that you can know how to beat the TAZER. Starting off with how to get the TAZER. You can only get it if you're on the COPS team. You can't get it like you could in Chapter 1. No matter how many times I try, I just can't get the TAZER. An important stat about the TAZER that we need to cover is its DPS. Now, you may be thinking, the TAZER doesn't do any damage. Its DPS is 0. And you'd be absolutely right. The TAZER does no damage, but the things that you compare it with make it dangerous. Most often you'll see it paired with the handcuffs. The handcuffs have a DPS of up to 133, because it takes around 1.5 seconds to arrest anybody even if they have armor. 200 HP divided by 1.5 is 133. Now you may be wondering why we want the DPS of the handcuffs. The main reason is so that you can compare its DPS to other guns, to see which can defeat the other person quicker. A gun with DPS 200 would have no problem taking out a cop rushing with handcuffs. Basically, it's just for comparison. Every other gun suffers from inaccuracy while jumping, but for some reason the TAZER is always pinpoint accurate, even while jumping and moving and unaimed. Shotguns can't even compete. The draw time of the TAZER is about 1 second, and the time between shots is 5 seconds, including reload time. There are about 8 seconds before a person can be tased again. And this is the range of the TAZER. Let's think about what the TAZER is meant to be before we start countering it. It's meant to be close range, single use, single target, paired with handcuffs, and especially on unsuspecting people. So to counter it, we either have to outnumber it, outrange it, anticipate it, make it miss, or somehow counter the handcuffs. This is one of the most common strategies, invisible corner clipping. They can't see me at all, but I can see and shoot them. This would be my perspective. Now, how exactly do we counter this? We could outnumber the TAZER and take out the cop. There's no way he could fight 2 people at once. First, the arrest bug happened. Next, I was there to kill the cop, and if my friend got arrested, I could easily free him. But this plan starts to fall apart as soon as you add more cops into the equation. Also, not many of you have friends to always go with you, but I guess that's a different problem. If you get tased, you can't enter a vehicle. But if you're already in a vehicle, you can't get tased out. That means vehicles counter the TAZER. But I get that you really don't care, because most TAZER engagements happen indoors where you usually can't get vehicles. A great way to make the TAZER miss is by using a riot shield. There is a tiny place where your hands poke out that you can be shot from, but it's pretty unlikely that they will hit that. But if they do hit it, they're probably either lucky or just skillful. This plan doesn't work if they get behind you though. That's why you should always have an alt online so that you can see the enemy team's radar and movements. In general, a rule of thumb is not to take unfavorable engagements. It's not being scared, it's just common sense. But if they do sneak up on you, you might have an escape. In case you didn't see, I clicked the leave heist button, which can teleport you right outside. This method works by countering the handcuffs. You can't get arrested, so the TAZER was essentially useless. Here's another perspective. Just note that you can still be shot while in this weird TP state, but at least you won't be arrested. Just note that the exit heist button only appears after passing a certain checkpoint. Another way to counter the handcuffs is by doing this. It kills you, but it sure beats going back to prison. I can hit shots pretty accurately on people even while they're jumping. But when you jump boost with a shotgun, it becomes much harder. It's not that it's harder to hit, it's more that you can surprise the cop with weird movement. You You can pair it with the scar so that they miss their first shot, and then you can jump and spray with the scar and hope that they don't miss twice. One of the absolute best ways of countering the taser is by resetting in a very inaccessible location. That way you don't get sent to prison. Just make sure that they can't arrest your corpse. But if they do manage to tase you and are ready to arrest you, just leave and rejoin. You're still sent to prison, but at least they don't get your bounty. Also, there is no harm in doing this. The key is to make arresting so incredibly irritating and unrewarding that people stop trying. What good is tasing if people don't give up their bounties? Here's what not to do. Use a jetpack. It's not like Season 1 anymore. Now, to wrap up on the taser, I think it's a good weapon. It's really good where it is now. You might think it's too OP, but it really isn't too OP. The criminals just need access to more weapons. They could really do with some demolition charges, sticky bombs, some weapon upgrades like AKs that can shoot through the walls. They just need access to more things that cops can't get. Right now, as to a direct counter to the taser, there's not really a direct counter to it. It's meant to do what it's meant to do. You can't really beat it in close-up scenarios unless you have a lot of people, but then again, the cops can have a lot of people, and it just turns out that the taser is most OP in this situation. You could try to make them miss, you could outnumber them, you could find indirect counters to the taser, but there's just no way to compete against it in close quarters unless you have a higher skill level.